So what I'm going to show you now is the first step of knowing how to do shelving. I'm going to tell you about the organization of the library. So the library is divided into two areas. The areas that carry fiction books, which are pretend stories, imagination stories, or true information books, which are called nonfiction. So every book in the library has a spine label. It's a white label that either has only letters or numbers and letters on it. And they look like this. All the fiction books will have either a spine label with an E at the top part of it, and there's room for something down here, which I'll tell you. It might have an ER. It might have a FIC, or it could have a GN, or even, I'll just put this as a little extra one, SC. I'll tell you what they all stand for. E stands for everybody. That's our picture book. ER stands for early reader. That's our beginning readers that help develop their reading muscles. Then there's FIC, which is fiction, usually for more accomplished readers. GN stands for graphic novel, and SC stands for story collection. Those are the various addresses. Each of these is an address or a location in the library. One of the things they all have in common, or the thing they all have in common, is on the bottom of each call number. These are called call numbers, even though these don't have call. Even though these don't have numbers, it's still called call number. On the bottom of each call number and spine label are the first three letters of the author's last name. So if I wrote a book in a picture book, this would say M-A-Y. If Miss Johal wrote a book, it would say J-O-H, and on and on. If Mr. Glode wrote a book, it would be G-L-O, first three letters. And what you would do is then go to the area where all the everybody books are, then go to, within that section, you'd find alphabetically the letter M for where to put this book, and then you'd put it M-A alphabetically. If it's a fiction book, which I'll show you, you'll go to the fiction area where all of the spine labels say fiction, and you'd put it into order by going to the J section, then find the area where the book should go under J-O, etc. In addition, I'm not drawing the correct color here, but in addition, all the everybody books will have a yellow label piece of tape on top. That'll just help you get to the approximate area quickly. Also, all the ERs will have a blue tape on top. So this just helps you very quickly go, oh, this is an early reader book, or oh, this is a picture book or an everybody book. So those are all the fiction labels for, those are all the spine labels for fiction. Then for nonfiction, there's basically one kind of, I'll say two spine labels, which are the addresses. The first one will have a number on the top. So for example, I'm holding this one, All About Water, and the number is 553.7. And what will go over here? Same thing, first three letters of the author's last name. If I wrote the book, it would be M-A-Y, but in this case it is Rochelle Strauss, so it's S-T-R. Then it's just a matter of finding where in the library, and we do have signs, where in the library can you find the number 553. And all the books are in number order. All the nonfiction books are in number order. 553.7, and then once you get to that section, you look for alphabetically STR. The last place that we have nonfiction is biography. And biography has 3 lines on the spine label. The first line is the letter B, which lets you know, oh, we have to go to the biography section of the library. The second line is the first 3 letters of who the book is about. In this case, it would be Muhammad Ali, so it's the last name, Ali. And then on the bottom is, again, the first 3 letters of the author. So if we have 5 books on Muhammad Ali, we go to the biography section, then we go to the A section because all biographies are filed by who it's about. And then if we have 5 books, we put them in alphabetical order by the author. And I'll just say I'm the author of one of them. So that's basically how the library is set up into sections. Again, the location is always determined by the first line on the spine label. So next we'll go into where in the library are these sections. So as I said, the early readers start right over here, go down along these low blue shelves to the 3rd blue shelf. The 4th blue shelf, right over here, actually has the end of the E, everybody, picture books section, starting at W, go over here. So all of these have blue labels. These start with yellow labels, because these are the end of the everybody books, which have yellow labels on top of the white spine label. I'm going to walk along the outside of the library, right over here. And I'll just be waving to you because I'll be behind. Over here, right next to this door that leads to the next classroom, right over here are brown shelves. On these shelves, right over here, all of these books have on the spine label, the top line, GN. And that stands for graphic novel. So anytime you see a GN, just bring it right over here, put it on the shelf, and you'll be set. Don't worry about the order. On graphic, there are a few places that I don't worry about the order. Graphic novels is one of them. Right over here are other fiction books. They usually will say FIC, first 3 letters, and then PB for paperback. And you'll see these are the series books. After a few times being in the library, you'll get the hang of this. So right now, we are at the beginning of the fiction area, and this is the fiction area for the slightly older readers. So on this area, right over here and here, instead of saying FIC for fiction on the top line of the spine label, it says SC. SC stands for story collection. And what it is a group of, it's books that have short stories in it. So these all say SC on the top line of the spine label, and then it starts with the first 3 letters of the author's last name on the second line of the spine label. Then we're going to move down the aisle, into the aisle, and I'll just give you a brief overview. I won't take you into the shelves, I'll just give you a brief overview.
Okay.
So the fiction actually is on this side of the library, the bookshelves against the wall, and then also this facing shelf over here continues the alphabet. Here it ends with the LAU. Let me see if I'm telling you the truth. LUB is right over here, and then we just move right over here to the other side where it starts with M for McDonald. One thing I want to tell you about the MCs and the MACs. MC and MAC are all treated as one unit, and they go before the regular alphabet of M-A-B for a last name, or M-A-C for a last name, or M-A-D for a last name. All the MCs and MACs get interfiled, so it would be MacDonald, McGraw, MacLachlan, McGuire, Macaulay, all of those get interfiled before the beginning of the MACs. Okay. One other thing I want to say generally about shelving in the library. In your home library, you might have it set up where the books are pushed all the way onto the shelf, and then sometimes you put little gidgy-goos over here. But in a library, the main way we'd like to do it is to get all the spines out at the edge of the shelf as much as possible. All the books are different sizes, but we'd like to be able to have the spines easily read. So generally, if you go into libraries, the intent, the hope, is that they can all be out here, right at the edge of the shelf. So on this side of the library, which is the window wall, these are our everybody books, otherwise generally known as picture books. We call them everybody books because fifth graders use them, teachers use them as part of modeling in an efficient way for how a story begins or how a character develops. You can do this in some of the picture books in 32 pages, as opposed to going through an entire fiction, upper level challenging read. You can accomplish the demonstration in 32 pages. So these are called everybody books. They also, on the spine label, it says E on the top of the spine label. Bottom part of the spine label says first 3 letters of the author's last name. It's always on all the books in the library. First 3 letters of the author's last name. In addition, the everybody books also have a yellow label, and I'm just going to come right over here. Are you able to get close?
Yep.
Okay. So right over here, all the everybody books also have a yellow label. On the yellow label is the first letter of the author's last name. So this is just a hint. Take all the yellow labels. When you see B, you just know you're going to go over to the B section of the picture books, of the everybody books, and then you'll put it into ABC order by the detail of the author's last name down here, first 3 letters of the author's last name. Every once in a while, you'll come across something like this, where a student has forgotten to take out their placeholder. Just take out the placeholder. On the low blue shelves, you'll see a little container for it. Just put it right in there. So, you'll see this goes ABC over here to CA. Then we move over across these windows, and it continues here with the C's, and then it goes DA, DI, EF, GA, GR. Then it goes all the way down to the bottom shelf. And this shelf, instead of going across and down, instead of going each little area across and down, this goes straight across the alphabet and then comes down here to which I think is O, down at the bottom here, all the way across. You may remember that I said it ends with V, UV. Yes, it ends with V on the bottom shelf, and W for the picture books starts in that last little bit of the low blue shelves. Here are the W's, X, Y, Z for picture books.
Great.
So we saw the way fiction was arranged in the library, FIC or E or ER or GN or SC. So now we're going to nonfiction. Nonfiction is arranged by the subject area. And there was a guy named Melville Dewey. He wanted to organize libraries, which were a crazy hodgepodge before his time. So what he said is, I'm going to create 10 categories of knowledge. Each category I'm going to give the numbers 1 through 100, 201 through 290, 000 to 099, all the way up to 199.00. Then the next set of numbers would be 200 to 299, 300 to 399. And each of those categories has a particular subject associated with it. So if you look up here, you'll see these are the broad categories of the Dewey Decimal System. That's what it's called, the Dewey Decimal System. So you can see that the basic thing, you're always welcome to browse through anything and learn more, but just for the shelving purposes, you'll just see everything goes in order, and that is organized the same way that it's organized on the shelves. These are the 10 big categories of the Dewey Decimal System. So here we are at the nonfiction, the beginning of the nonfiction in the library. In the nonfiction area, I do have signs around that have a red line around them. In some cases, there will be other signs as well as I'm transitioning. But as you can see, this has a red line around it. This also has a red line around it. And that's going to give you the approximate area of where you're going to find those numbers in the Dewey Decimal System. Goes in number order. If you have a few of the same number, then it's going to go in ABC order by the author. Or 100s are general information. This is where you'll find your almanacs, things about ghosts, and anything that Dewey Decimal System. This is 100s. Then we move down to the 200s, which is religion and mythology. And just so you know, in the library world, mythology is not so much stories of just mythological people or creatures, but they're actually the stories of ancient religions, and they're put into the true information area because it has to do with religion. We move along and we come to 300s, which is all about social sciences. Oftentimes that's law and manners, things that help people get along with each other in the world. Rules of the road, money, things that make trading equitable, etc. The other thing that's also in the 300s, which is a big section, is folklore and fairy tales. And you might be saying, folklore and fairy tales, Cinderella, bibbidi bobbidi boo, what is that doing in true information section? Well, the reason that it's in there is that most of this folklore was told by word of mouth as a way of teaching people in the culture how to behave the way the culture needed them to behave. So in Cinderella, she was a good, obedient girl, and she got rewarded. At the end, she married the prince and lived in a castle, where her stepmother and stepsisters, depending on the story, they either get to cut off their heel to try and put it into the shoe, or they wind up being the scullery maids for the castle, something like that. So they did not get rewarded. So the story of Cinderella really teaches to be a good, obedient, caring person. Same thing with a lot of the folklore. It teaches either the values of the culture or oftentimes the stories of the beginning of the culture. So 300s go all the way here, across, down, down, across, down, across, down, across, down, across, down, across. These are all the 300s. I do want to say, if you look over here, I put this on the board because here's 398.2 and here's 398.22. So even though the 398.22 has the first three letters of the author's last name, ABL, A comes before C, because this is simply 398.2, this one is going to show up first on the bookshelves. Then we'll eventually get to 398.22, and you'll put all those into ABC order. But the first three letters of the author's last name. This is all 500s, which is natural science. That's things like mathematics are in the early 500s. We have weather and planets, things about physics and chemistry, natural earth sciences, caves, oceans. I don't know if I mentioned, but there's also, outer space over here.
Sorry.
This lower shelf of just those are the 400s. Lots of children like them because 400s is language, and I have a lot of foreign language dictionaries here, which a lot of children really like. Don't worry about putting them in order. Those 400s are always going to be out of order. There are two parts of the library where things are always out of order. One is 400s, and the other is dinosaurs.
Okay.
So I said 500s, we go over here, all the earth sciences, and here's weather, rocks and minerals. Eventually, this shelf right over here is the dinosaur shelf. Do not worry, just this one right here. Do not worry about that being in order. You can just put them all out, spine side out, will be set. This continues on down here, pond life, catching sunlight, things about photosynthesis. We go right over here. Oh, let me tell you this. Right over here, it ends at 579. This down here is 579. Then we go across the library. Right over to the shelves against the wall. That starts 580. It's all about plants, and then we go into animals. So here starts 580, right over here on the green shelves. It goes across and down, across and down. And here's all about general animal books, camouflage, animal dads, animal moms, that kind of thing. Then we get down here into some of the ocean life, spiders, insects, butterflies, things like that. We come up here, we're still in the 590s now. All kinds of sharks and other kinds of fish. 597s, you'll see, I don't have to run through it all. You'll just see, it's all in number order. 600s start over here. 600s are applied science, which is all about what you take from nature and apply it to use for man. So you'll find a lot of technology in here, also cooking, things like that, farming. What's in nature, you apply it and make it useful for man. So you continue on 600s, and we get into the 700s, which is arts and leisure. You'll find a lot of sports in the 700s. Also, kids like drawing books, a lot of art books, paper airplanes, all in here. Origami, kids love origami, you'll find that in here too. Let's see, what else? Then we go into the 800s, which is all literature and poetry.
Sorry. Go
And
ahead.
you might say, literature and poetry, what's that doing in nonfiction? Well, it's considered the creative works of man that are more current. So we have the creative works of man right here in the 800s, a lot of poetry. Continuing on to 900s, which is history and geography. And again, all in number order. You'll browse through, have fun. It's really a great section. Yeah, we could just put this right over here. Say when.
Go ahead.
So couple of anomalies for the 900s. So right over here at the edge of this 900 shelf, I have a few shelves of states books, and I don't put them in number order. I just put them in ABC order by the states. Same for these. Not number order. You'll see the states are just listed here. I put them in states order.
Alrighty.
So on this brown shelf and the brown shelf next to it, this is our biography collection. Stories about people who have accomplished something that has changed the world or made a contribution, usually. These have 3 lines on the spine label. So in the biography spine labels, there are 3 lines on the spine label. First one says B. You'll automatically know that the address is to go to the B biography section. Then the second line has the first 3 letters of the name the book is about. The last name of the person of the book. The second line has the first 3 letters of the last name of who the book is about. And that's how we alphabetize it, by the second line, who the book is about. So the last line of the first 3 letters of the author's last name. So if, for example, you have 10 books about Martin Luther King, you'll have all your Martin Luther Kings, and then you'll put it, this will say K-I-N, and then you're going to put it in ABC order by the author.
All right.
So if a child has a book out for longer than 2 weeks, I don't send another book home. I wait till that book comes back. But we always tell that student they can save a book. And I have papers on the desk, gets filled out, I'll show you when you come in. And then they just put the book over here on the save shelf, spine side out. And all of these will have their little save papers in it, identifying who is the student in what class. Save shelf. An important reminder about shelving. So this is the area where I teach. Sometimes I teach and the students are on the floor. Sometimes I teach and the students are at the table, depending on their age and depending on the work we're doing. So whenever you do shelving, while I'm teaching a class, please do not shelve on the inside, this area of the bookshelves. So while I'm doing the teaching, just please shelve on the outside areas of the bookshelves, so you're not distracting the students. And as soon as the kids are dismissed and can begin selection, then you can immediately go and shelve some books on the inside part of the bookshelves.